call this meeting of the Alvin Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Would you all please rise for the invocation given by Ms. Scheibel and remain standing for the pledges?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to come together this evening. Thank you for the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. We humbly ask for discernment and wisdom so that we can make decisions that will best serve our students, our staff, and our community. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Okay, on the agenda, the first thing is the introduction of the greeters, and then the student and faculty commendations. Mr. Combs?
Yes, ma'am. This evening, we had an incredibly enthusiastic group of greeters that we are excited to have from Passmore Elementary. They're the 5th grade pre-AP students under the direction of Mr. George Stokes. And I think somehow, not only were they enthusiastic, they figured out how to include the Pythagorean theorem in their greeting practices this evening. So extremely talented, and we are excited to hear from them this evening a little bit about what their experience has been like. And to share a little bit more, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. George Stokes.
I feel like I'm speaking before Congress. I just want to say how blessed I am, and I want to thank you all so much for the creation of the pre-AP program at the elementary level. It's something that we've needed for a long time. We have these kids that are just they're just rising like a meteor. It's unbelievable how much information they're soaking up. And I've been in the classroom I was in the classroom for 10 years teaching 5th grade, and I'd always thought about wanting to go to Harvey to teach at the MAP program. So now I get the best of both worlds. I get to stay at elementary, no offense to secondary and junior high, but I love elementary. And anyway, so these kids, I'll give you just a little tidbit. I gave them homework over Labor Day. They wanted more. They were excited about it. I had one student that said she was going to be driving down to South Texas. It was going to be a 5-hour drive, and she wanted work to do. So anyway, these kids are real go-getters, and just their future is so bright. And I just, again, thank you so much for the opportunity.
To thank the Alvin ISD School Board and Dr. Gilcrease for the creation of the Pre-Advanced Placement Math program at the elementary level. Your belief in our abilities is overwhelming. We are humbled and honored to be accepted into this program. Without question, it is a great opportunity to push ourselves beyond what we thought was possible. A great opportunity to be led to a higher level with greater intensity and at a quicker pace. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mia Reyes, and what does it mean to be accepted to this program? I wouldn't trade anything for this opportunity. I love being in this class because I get to learn the most that I can, and if kids try hard, if they are held to a higher standard, then they will learn to love education and how it's beneficial to them in the future.
My name is Tommy Wilson, and when I heard about this newly created class, I knew it was a perfect fit for me. I stressed for many nights before hearing the result from the test. Upon receiving the acceptance letter, I literally screamed and jumped for joy. I would like to thank all my teachers throughout the year for preparing me for this point. Without a doubt, this program is preparing me for the next step in my educational journey. It is pushing me to work harder than ever before and is leading all of us to a level once thought unattainable. Once again, thank you, Alvin ISD.
Well, Mr. Stokes and class, we thank you for being here. Thank you for serving as our greeters. We do need to take a photo and find out who is here with us. So can I invite you to the front so we can get lined up for a photo? And then I'm going to ask you each to introduce yourself and tell everyone here who you are. So please come on down to the front. And moms and dads, please don't be shy. Come forward, take as many photos as you'd like. Mr. Stokes, please join us as well. And we will start right over here. Please tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Merrick.
Hi, I'm Cooper Williams.
I am Luke Bruner.
I'm Benjamin Ray Urban.
I'm Corrigan Wright.
I'm Tommy Wilson.
I'm Maritza Ibarra.
Mia Reyes. I'm Annalise Henley.
I'm Denise Mesa.
I'm Sophia Trevino.
Hello, I'm Jade Guerra.
And again, I'm very proud of these students.
Excellent, thank you.
Stand up on this. There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? How bright is our future with these guys? Thank y'all again for joining us and sharing a little bit about your success. And we look forward to hearing more about it as you continue through school. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Kevin. Thank you, Mr. Stokes. This evening, we also have a number of commendations we're excited to share for our students. The first one is the Think Through Math Award. And we have from Nolan Ryan Junior High, Sydney Matthew. And Sydney, if you'll come on down. Sydney was selected among the top students in the nation to receive an award from Think Through Math for her hard work and dedication over the summer months. So she was working hard on her mathematics during the summer, and we're proud that she was recognized from students across the country. She was able to complete numerous lessons, and she also received a tablet and chargeable backpack and an array of her supplies for her commitment to engaging in an adaptive web-based learning environment. So thank you for representing Alvin ISD. Congratulations, Sydney. Next, we have a number of students who were recognized during the District Bluebonnet Rumble. In May of 2016, students from various Alvin ISD elementary schools competed in the Bluebonnet Rumble. The Bluebonnet Rumble is an opportunity for students to showcase their love of reading and comprehension from books read throughout the year. At this past year's Rumble, the following fourth graders placed first in the friendly competition. And first, we would like to recognize Ramsey Robertson from Hoodcase Elementary. Next, we have Leonardo Rios from Hoodcase Elementary as well. And next, Khalees Van Aken from Hoodcase Elementary. And Noah Richards from Hoodcase Elementary. As well as Bailey Gardner from E.C. Mason Elementary. Come on down, Bailey. we are so proud of these students for the example that they show to their peers as well, their passion for reading. If you've not had a chance to attend a Bluebonnet Rumble, it is a lot of fun, and the excitement is contagious. And so we are so thankful to have these students with us to recognize them for their leadership through that program. All right, congratulations, y'all. Next, we have a number of high-achieving academic students from Alvin ISD, some National Merit Scholarship recognees. The mission of the National Merit Scholarship Corporation is to recognize and honor academically talented students. And the following Manville High School 12th grade students were recognized as the top students by the National Merit Program. First, we have Aaron Shajiman from Manville High School, National Merit semifinalist. Next, we have Samuel George, National Merit commended student. And finally, we have Wesley Pinnock, National Merit commended student. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the best and the brightest, not only from our district, but from across the nation. And we look forward to their academic success as they go on beyond Alvin ISD. And further than that, we thank you for leading the charge and for all your accomplishments to this point. Congratulations. And one last acknowledgement as we complete commendations. The Education Foundation is sponsoring Red Ribbon Week at the end of this month. And so trustees, you all have a ribbon, and those ribbons will also be provided to each of the elementary students in the district. And so we are very thankful to the foundation for providing those to our students, and also to y'all as well, so that you can support that great cause. So, thank you very much.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is open forum, and I don't believe we have anything. So, at this time, the board will now adjourn into executive session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Texas Government Code Chapter 551.072, discussion of purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and 551.074, discussing personnel. We will be back, and we'll be voting after that for other items on the agenda. All right, we are now back in open session, and we are going on to the presentation. And our presentation this evening is on enrollment forecast.
Good evening, Board President Harris, members of the board, Superintendent Gilchrist. It's very good to be here with you tonight. Tonight, I will briefly touch base on the economic conditions that are taking place across the state of Texas, and specifically what's going on around the greater Houston area. We'll also look at the housing market, and then we'll touch on the enrollment projections. The Houston economy is still continuing to suffer just a little bit with the slowdown related to energy. You can't tell it. That's supposed to be a thermometer that shows you red and green and to give you kind of the indication of what the unemployment rate is like in the greater Houston area. You'll notice that the Houston MSA's unemployment rate has picked up just a little bit. The unemployment rate around Houston is about 5.8% versus the state of Texas is at 5%, and the U.S. unemployment rate is also at about 5%. So this slowdown related to energy and the oil market has definitely caused a little bit of a pickup related to the unemployment rates in the greater Houston area. When we look specifically at the city of Alvin, it's also picked up just a little bit. The city of Alvin's unemployment rate's about 6.1%. Now, annual job growth, we've seen a slowdown in job growth around the greater Houston area. In fact, job growth around Houston is about 0.4%, which we were doing about 3 to 4% a few years ago, and that's about 100,000 jobs a year, and we've slowed down to a trickle to where we're doing about 4,000 jobs. Now, there has been some good news about the energy industry. It looks like we could start to see a pickup in the oil industry as OPEC has stated that they're going to put a cap on production, so could see some lifting of oil and could see some surge back in the energy industries. Now, when we break down the job growth situation for the greater Houston area, you'll notice the two industries that did see that job loss are mining and logging, which that is the energy sectors. We've seen about a 13% decline in jobs related to the energy sector. Also, information services saw about a 7% decline in job growth. But we are still having slight job growth in many of the service area of the job growth. So the population is still growing in Houston, so therefore hospitality, education, health services, those industries are continuing to produce job growth. Now, looking just down the road, this is primarily looking at Lake Jackson area. The Lake Jackson area is seeing significant construction, so there is very large construction projects related to the natural gas industry. It's the fracking industry, or not fracking, natural gas, the conversion of gas to liquefied forms. They're building these huge plants in Lake Jackson. There's about a $20.5 billion investment in the petrochemical plants along the Gulf Coast. So Dow Chemical also expanding. So there is job growth down in Lake Jackson area, which I believe is causing some of that surge up 288. And the housing market is benefiting from the growth in the Lake Jackson area because there is not housing available in the Lake Jackson area. We work with Brazosport ISD, and there's just really not the housing down there. In terms of new home construction, Alvin is ranked 10th in the Houston area for annual closings, ranked by school district. We started about 1,034 new home starts in the last 12 months, ending in the second quarter. We closed about 948. The reason there's a lag between starts and closings, it's taking longer for builders to finish homes. The subcontractors are not as readily available, so there is a length of construction that we've seen increase, and it's affecting the home building market. It's probably going to impact commercial construction as well. We've got about 1,951 vacant developed lots. VDL, vacant developed lots. Those are lots that are on the ground, ready for builders to build on. Here's the other big news, big number. We've got 15,465 future lots. Those are additional phases of some of the existing developments. There are also some brand new developments. And so you can see we've got more than 10 years worth of lots in the pipeline to keep you going at about 1,000 to 1,200 homes a year based on what the developers have delivered and are going to deliver. You can see that's about a 2-year supply of lots for those builders. Here's a breakdown of that housing information by starts and by closings by the quarter. What you'll notice is year to date, we've started about 535. We've closed year to date about 473. We do anticipate that we're going to see a surge in closings in the next couple of months as those builders finish those homes that they started in the summer. And so we are going to continue to see about 1,000 homes closed by the end of 2016. Now here's a little different look than we've presented in the past. If you remember in the past, we've showed you the top 10 most active subdivisions. This is a thematic map. It includes all of the housing activity. So this gives you a picture of where the most active areas for home building are taking place. It's thematic on annual closings. So the red elementary attendance zones, they're closing more than 150 homes a year. The orange are closing between 101 and 150. Yellow is closing between 51 and 100. So this kind of heat map gives you the feel for where the most activity is taking place. The most active elementary zone is the Mason zone. They're closing about 167 homes a year annually. Number 2 is Savannah Lakes at 156. The third most active right now is York, closing 143. And then we've got Duke and Jeter right there close to 100 homes as well. This next series of maps is based on vacant developed lots. So this gives us an idea of where the builders are going to be building in the near future, because this is where the lots are on the ground. The elementary zone that has the most vacant developed lots is Meridiana. The Meridiana attendance zone has 526, so the opening of that elementary school is in a spot that does have a lot of the annual closings and has the lots. So you can see it's in a very strong area of the district in terms of housing growth. Number 2 is the Duke zone with 363 vacant developed lots, and then third is Mason with 284. Next series of maps shows you the future lots. These are where the largest concentrations or lots are down the road. And of course, Meridiana has 9,967 future lots planned for that attendance zone. That's multiple elementaries worth of lots in that zone. Now, in those maps, we also gave you the top 10 so you could look to see where the most active developments are. I'll go through these pretty quickly, but here's just some of the highlights. Of course, Meridiana is about 5,000 of those 9,000 lots. There's about 33 homes under construction. That price range is $250,000 to $750,000. The developer anticipates absorption rates to dramatically increase once that 288 exchange and the Meridiana Parkway are completed. They hope to be building about 200 homes in 2017. Keep in mind, builders are usually, the developers are a little optimistic. They will be competing with Pomona, and so there's going to be a lot of competition to get down to that area, but it will be interesting to see how that plays out. But at build out, this represents about 1,600 elementary students. Lakeland, just in there behind the Manville Junior High, that's about 661 total lots. There were 44 homes under construction. That price range is about $190,000 to $280,000. They anticipate building about 65 homes in 2017. And so that build out, they would have about 200 elementary students in Lakeland. Pomona, 1,802 total lots. This is Hillwoods, the developer's first project in the Houston area. And it's split presently between Duke Elementary and the Jeter. There's a little bit that's in the Jeter Elementary attendance zone. Currently, the housing is taking place within the Duke Elementary zone. They're building about 75 homes a year in 2016 and could get up to about 100 homes a year starting in 2017. Savannah Lakes, it's been building homes for several years. It's a total of about 3,000 lots. There were 52 homes under construction during the second quarter. A small section of that 75 future lots is located in Fort Bend ISD. And at build out, this represents about 900 elementary students. It is unfortunate that these developers don't take that into consideration when this is platted. I've seen these problems with split developments in many, many districts that we work with, and it's just one of the challenges that developers don't always take into consideration the school's boundary when they plat the property. Rodeo Palms, it's about 1,730 total lots. There's 68 homes under construction in Rodeo Palms. They hope to be building about 150 homes a year. That price range ranges from $130,000 to $600,000. Sterling Lakes and Sierra Vista. Sterling Lakes is about 5,000 total lots, 3,900 futures. There are 52 homes under construction. and that price range is $150,000 to $300,000. At build-out, this represents about 1,500 elementary students. And then Sierra Vista, just to the south there, is about 1,000 future lots. They're anticipating phase one with 242 lots, should be delivering in the third quarter of 2017, with first homes occupied in early 2018, building about 100 homes a year. That represents about 300 elementary students when they're built out. That was just a quick overview. Just wanted to touch on the highlights. Of course, we've got several other areas that are building, but that's the most active areas that are where we're seeing the most housing activity. Now, this is just a quick look at your enrollment history, and then we'll talk about the forecast. This year, we grew about 1,321 students. That was about 6% enrollment growth. And the yellow represents the largest grade per year, and the green represents the second largest grade per year. But I do want to point out one trick to the numbers this year. The kindergarten actually declined. So we had a very small kindergarten number this year. Kindergarten number was about 1,710. Last year's kindergarten number was about 1,720. We have seen a slowdown at kindergarten all across the country. So it's happening across the country. It is related to a slowdown in birth rates and a slowdown in household formations from the millennials. So the millennials aren't forming households, and we're seeing that play out. So we are anticipating that the kindergarten number is going to grow because of just the sheer mass of families that are moving to the Alvin area. But had we had birth rates from a few years ago, that kindergarten number would be climbing even faster. So I just wanted to point that out because it does reveal a little bit of a situation where when you look at the fifth grade class, the fifth grade class is 1,840. The kindergarten class is 1,710. So if you just roll those grades up, the elementary numbers would be less. But what's going to happen is we're going to grow, but it's going to be because we've got, so many more families coming to the area. In 5 years, we could have about 25,000, and by 2018, we could have about 25,000 students. By 2021, in 5 years, we could have an additional 5,000 students enrolled in your school district. Now, looking at the enrollment projections at the campus level, these are the 10-year elementary projections. It does take into consideration the opening of elementary 17 and elementary 18, which will be opening next fall. So those numbers are grayed out there, but that's just so that we do illustrate the opening of those two elementary schools. And what I would point out is we are making some progress on the red. So if you remember from previous presentations that I did, we had multiple campuses in the red within the next couple of years. Well, we have made some progress in that. We do still have York that's going to be slightly over capacity. And then you'll notice by 2019, we would have 3 elementaries over maximum capacity. And our enrollment by 2020 could be at about 13,000 students at those elementary campuses. At the secondary level, you'll notice the wave keeps moving through the campuses. And at the junior highs, by 2018, we could have 3 junior highs over the maximum capacity. That would be Ryan Junior High at about 1,158, Manville Junior High at about 1,195, and then Rodale Palms at about 1,044. So you can see those 3 are going to be exceeding the maximum capacity. And then at the high school level, we've got Alvin High School. This is consistent with what we've seen in the past. It's just over capacity. And by next year, they'd be at about 2,800 students. And by 2020, they could be at about 3,000 students. And Shadow Creek High School could exceed the 2,500 number in about 2019. I'll summarize, then we'll go back and answer questions. Alvin ISD closed more than 1,000 homes leading into the school year. We do expect that to continue. Meridiana, Savannah Lakes, Duke elementary zones account for roughly half of all the new home activity in Alvin ISD. Meridiana Elementary Zone did not hit the initial housing totals forecasted. They did fall a little bit below the projected numbers, but we do expect that to continue to increase as that development gains some traction. Secondary yields jumped by almost 50% in the apartment complexes. So we have seen an increase in yields in those apartment complexes, primarily around that Shadow Creek High School zone. I failed to include a slide on the multifamily, but we are tracking the multifamily. There is one that's under construction, South Fork, about 300 and something units. It is expected to be completed by the end of 2016, so in a couple of months. And then there is some zoning work, some preliminary plans for about 160 units on Highway 6 in Manville. They were rejected for their tax credit this past summer, but we have been informed that they're going to reapply again next summer. So that's 160 units of affordable apartment units that are proposed. So we'll be watching that one. And then there's still some future developments up around the Shadow Creek area that we're watching as well that haven't been formally platted, but there is some zoned, planned areas for some additional multifamily. One of those is a senior complex, but there is some additional units up in that northern part of Shadow Creek Ranch that could produce some additional units down the road. Next year's enrollment projections may not be as strong as in the past as the high school yields level off, but Alvin ISD should still enroll more than 1,200 students next year. 5-year enrollment growth of about 5,399 students, which put the fall of 2021 enrollment at 28,878. 10-year, we could top 33,000 students by the year 2026. Be happy to answer questions.
Anyone have any questions?
Get a copy of this? Yes.
Please.
I know I went pretty quick. I apologize for my fast pace, but we had so much to cover, and I wanted to get it done as efficiently as possible.
I have a question. So I've heard there's a proposal to put a 1,200 unit apartment complex at Highway 6 and 288. Do you know anything about that?
I believe it is in our database. That would likely, a 1,200 unit, sounds like it would be a multi-level and would more than likely be a market rate apartment complex, which would have a lower yield. But yes, we are tracking the multifamily projects. I will include this in an addendum to this presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Pat, will you, when we get that added to, will you get it to Mary Ann, and Mary Ann will email it out as soon as we can get the corrections and get it emailed out? So
Yeah, it'll be pretty quick for us. We have it in our database, and I'll have them make a slide on the multifamily.
it's okay. Sounds great.
Thank you. We greatly value our relationship. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary, and Alvin is one of our 10-year clients, and we are extremely thankful to be working with your school district.
So let's go back over those 10 years and we'll give you a grade on how. No? Oh, okay.
You know, if we get to average it over the 10 years, we've done really good. But yes, there's been years where you've exceeded our forecast. There's been years where you've fell below the forecast. It's interesting how I think then what we do is we tend to overreact. You know, okay, now it's exceeded it, so then we ramp it up, and then it falls back, and it is kind of an ebb and flow of how the growth occurs.
Absolutely. So, no, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Been a great partnership.
Thank you.
Can we, Mr. Combs, can we introduce a government class that's here
Sure.
tonight? Yeah.
Please.
Mr. Combs, would you introduce?
Absolutely. So we have Ms. Temple's government class from Alvin Community College joining us this evening. Texas history, I believe it is. Is that correct?
Texas government.
Texas government. Okay, we were close.
And local. Don't forget local government.
And local government. Well, thank y'all for being here. We appreciate you joining us. Y'all are welcome back anytime. Can we give them a round of applause?
Okay, so moving on, actually, please excuse Ms. Harris. She has a business trip she needed to leave and catch a flight for. So we will move on in the agenda. And next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that anyone would like to pull? Okay, having heard none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G?
So moved.
Ms. Winterstrom,
Second.
and a second by Ms. Metoyer. Do we discuss consent? Okay. So all in favor of approving consent agenda items A through G?
Thank you, Board.
Okay. Motion approved, 6-0. Next on the agenda, a request to consider approval of purchase under the guidelines of CH Legal business action item.
Board, as you know, several things happening over the course of this board meeting and next board meeting. This is one of those action items where we're asking you to approve the purchase of lighting for the AHS Memorial Stadium field lighting package from Musco Lighting. The project does exceed $75,000. It's around $500,000. Our recommendation is that we approve that purchase.
Do I hear a motion to approve the purchase of Alvin High School Memorial Stadium field lighting package from Musco Lighting under the guidelines of CH Local?
So moved.
I have a motion by Ms. Pickren and a second.
Second.
By Ms. Scheibel. Any discussion?
I have a question. We're putting in the soccer fields close to that. And I'm assuming the soccer fields will need lighting too. Are we trying to combine all of this? Or have we talked to them about getting a discount for more lights or?
Soccer field is actually a practice soccer field. It's a replacement for the soccer field that's currently over by softball, where we're going to put parking. And by putting parking there, and that being the best and most valuable use of that area adjacent to the visitors' side of the stadium, we're relocating and actually giving a little bit larger, closer to full-size soccer practice field. So it's not intended that the soccer field would have lighting.
Any other questions? Okay. Having heard a first and a second, all those in favor of approving a request to, let's see. All those in favor of approving the purchase of Alvin High School Memorial Stadium field lighting package from Musco Lighting under the guidelines of CH Legal. All in favor?
Thank you, Board.
Okay. Approved 6-0. Okay, next on the agenda is a request to consider personnel. This one? Sorry. Next on the agenda is the request to consider approval of award of contract for construction of Central District Stadium.
Board, as you remember, the 2015 bond included a district stadium in it. After many months of searching for property and doing due diligence on that property, the bids were sent out. Bids were received on October 4th, 2016 for this, and our recommendation is that we select Manhattan Construction Company. That's a base bid of $38,936,000 plus the recommended alternatives that we've discussed for a total of $41,917,000. I would like to point out that this is not only for the construction of a football stadium. This property and the construction does include portions of it that will lead to the district transportation center that will be built on the same site, as well as future fine arts center and a future natatorium if the district so chooses to do that, as well as the fact of the multiple drainage and detention for all of the entire property, not just for the football stadium. We actually have a graphic on the screen. If you'll follow with me, and Pat, you got your pointer?
Sure. Got the pointer on here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do that because I can't read it even from here. So.
Okay. Sure. Absolutely. We ended up acquiring a little over 98 acres, but the great value of this site is that a lot of what we're putting in and some of the amenities that are part of this construction price and construction budget for the stadium actually will serve the future transportation satellite project that was on the 2015 bond election also. So you see here that of the 98 plus acres, that we actually have 11 acres of usable site, which actually is 18 acres of transportation site if you include the detention portion of it. The stadium itself is built on about 42 acres with a total, when you include the detention area for the stadium, of about 66 acres out of the 98 plus. We have the future natatorium site over here. Again, the drainage criteria is pretty significant on these projects, especially where we have this much impervious area with all the paving. And so you see that this area of blue over here and the area right over Allen's Head, this gray area, are both detention basins that take care of the storm water for this site. And so of the amount that's being recommended for approval, the $41 million plus, actually a significant portion of that pays for a lot of the driveways that come in and will access the future natatorium, the transportation site. It includes monies in there that would help to bring a lot of the underground utilities in that would be tapped and used by transportation and a future natatorium. It includes the building of all this detention that serves not just the stadium again, but these other projects that are to come. And so the stadium is the first in. The stadium therefore requires us to do a significant amount of work to develop the entire site, including clearing and grading of those areas that the stadium actually isn't going to be built on. So that's kind of how the 98 plus acres breaks down. We actually are, the engineering traffic study required that we have a significant greater right-of-way out here on these public streets. These are the two public road frontages, County Road 65 and County Road 64. And so we have dedicated some of this 98 acres of land to widening those roads so that they're adequate in size to handle the volume of traffic that will serve our stadium, our transportation, and our natatorium.
But also, one last thing to point out is that 10,000 seat stadium, it is expandable to 12,000, but probably the most important part is that for restroom count, Pat?
Yes. The best value to the district, again, was to go ahead and build the restroom count in the women's restrooms adequate to serve 12,000. Even though we're building a 10,000 seat stadium at this point in time, because the stadium is expandable to 12,000, it would be arduous and quite expensive to go back and put that potty count in later. Additionally, that amount that we're asking for approval tonight includes not just the 10,000 seats that was originally programmed, but on the lower concourse of the seating for the stadium, we actually were recommending as one of the alternates that is part of this dollar value that we're asking for approval of an additional 850 seats and parking that would go with those 850 seats, because it's a lot more economical to put them in at this point in time than it would be to come back and put them in at a later date. So we would have 10,850 seats and the parking to go with it.
Thank you. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve Manhattan Construction as the general contractor for construction of Central District Stadium and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate and execute the final construction contract not to exceed $41,917,000. Motion by Mr. Humbird. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Scheibel. And is there any discussion, questions?
Oh, I'll have one. And this is, I don't know, this is the best time to talk about it. Do we have in this package anything about putting in like closed circuit TVs in the concession stands? And in that new, that 500 seat deal? Because I know a lot of parents work that concession stand and they miss a lot of the games because of that. And I don't know if that's in there or not, or if we can put it in there at a later date.
Right. The piping, the wiring for technology for the audio and visual and scoreboard portions of this stadium are in this package. The actual sound systems, the hardware for those systems will be part of a later package as part of the FF&E. So I'm not sure if we actually had programmed I'm not sure. We have our team here tonight. Manhattan is here, Stan Tech is here, and the building programs are here. I'm not sure. We probably would have to go to the drawings and see if we actually have a pipe to bring cabling into the concession stands themselves, but we can answer that in a weekly report. And the fact of the matter is that the technology to provide that type of amenity is close enough that it's not a big hill to climb to include that, if that's the wishes.
I definitely agree after working the concession stand and listening to some of the other parents working at the concession stand.
Yeah.
That other than getting the AC in there finally, which was a big help, having a way to where those volunteers could keep track of the game would be really nice.
Sure. We can manage that.
Any other comments or questions?
On the alternates, there were 3 alternates for the stadium lights. And it looks like we chose one of them. Why did we choose that one and not the other 2, or?
Alternate 2 had to do with the actual lights that light the field. And older technology is metal halide, and it's being replaced by LED. And LED, when it first came out, was a significant price increase. The quality of the light is great. It is better than metal halide. And we were proposing, and we broke that price out to see what the price difference would be. And our recommendation is to purchase the LED lighting. The LED lighting system will be supported in the future. Metal halide will be old technology. And so that's what we're recommending, and that's what's included in this purchase of this at the $41+ million, $41,917. Now, the other lighting that had to do with the 3A and the 3B, that is the lighting product, the lighting fixtures and equipment that provides cascade lighting of a variety of colors to cascade the building with school colors. And there is a Primo manufacturer that was our choice, and it was in the base bid. And these were 3A and 3B were 2 alternate manufacturers. And the fact is, the contractor was able to secure our personal preference choice under his base bid, and so we didn't choose the 3A or the 3B. They are not added to the $41,917,000. But in the base bid, we have the cascading light and the manufacturer that will bring us the best product.
And then traffic coating. I know you were talking earlier about a non-slip surface.
It is on the concourse. In the event that we have any water or moisture or sweating of that concrete, especially on a day where we might have a temperature differential. We do have a crawl space underneath this concourse, so there is a potential that it might be a little cooler on the bottom side of it that would create some condensate. And so a lot of the other folks that are doing stadiums have, as a safety measure, have put a coating that the coefficient of friction for non-slip is improved, and that's what this is. This is the addition of that, and it is included in the proposed price that we're asking for approval.
Any others? Okay. We've had a first and a second, a motion and a second, and so all in favor of approving Manhattan Construction as the general contractor for construction of the Central District Stadium, and authorize the superintendent or designee to negotiate and execute the final construction contract not to exceed $41,917,000. All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you, Board.
6-0.
Why are you guys still sitting here? We have. Oh, I'm sorry. We got shovels in the ground, right?
Permit.
Okay, next on the agenda is a request to consider personnel.
Board, you have, as we continue to grow after listening to Mr. Templeton's demographic report, we're continuing to add staff. Our recommendation is that we approve the employment of personnel as presented.
Do I hear a motion to approve the requested personnel as presented?
So moved.
First by Ms. Metoyer, a second
Second.
by Ms. Pickren, and any discussion? I guess we can't discuss that. All in favor of approving personnel as presented? And no opposed, 6-0. Okay. Next, a request to consider the administrative appointment for assistant principal at Savannah Lakes Elementary.
Board, it is our privilege to recommend one of our own, Miss Laura Peterson, as the assistant elementary principal at Savannah Lakes. She currently serves as the campus instructional math coach on that campus.
Do I have a motion to approve Miss Laura Peterson as assistant principal on Savannah Lakes Elementary?
So moved.
By Ms. Pickren, and a second?
Second.
Not on, Ann, Pat. Okay, all in favor of, any discussion? All in favor of approving Ms. Peterson as assistant principal at Savannah Lakes Elementary?
Thank you, Board.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I believe she's here.
All right.
Okay. Next item is a request to consider assistant principal for Manville Junior High School.
Board, again, remind you that both of these additions are because of growth on those campuses, reaching the numbers. And so it's our privilege to recommend as the assistant principal at Manville Junior High, one who's going to be our own now. And so she is currently the assistant principal in Wharton ISD, Miss Amisha Graham.
Do I hear a motion to approve Miss Amisha Graham as assistant principal at Manville Junior High? Motion by Mr. Humbert and a second by Miss Winterstrom. Any discussion? And all in favor of approving Miss Graham as assistant principal at Manville Junior High?
Thank
Board.
you. I believe she is here as well. So, yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations. And we'll turn the time over to Dr. Gilcrease.
Just a couple of quick things to cover in my report. The first is that we had both homecomings recently and the Shadow Creek High School feeding frenzy, which was part of their new coming. And so great celebrations at all three schools. It was a great night of traditions for two existing schools and a great night of creating traditions at our brand new school. Everybody had a great time last Tuesday at the Meridiana Elementary School dedication. We had more than 500 people there. Just again, going back to Mr. Templeton's demographic report, that school is closing in on getting full already. So it was a great night. If you missed some of the student performances and additionally the conversation with some of the developers in that community, I think there's a great partnership between Alvin ISD, Meridiana Elementary School, and Meridiana the Development. But some former Globetrotters stopped by Jeter to teach responsibility, and it was a great opportunity for our students to be encouraged to do great things and live responsibly while having a wonderful time learning. I'm quoting Craig Rhodes there, the principal of Don Jeter. I thought he said it well. So is Craig here tonight? So we quote him and he's not here. That's a good thing. We'll have to remind him. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. The book bus just continues to make news and make waves. And United Way has given us a grant of $10,000. We were one of 4, right, Daniel? Right? 4 additional 4 grants that they gave through their program. And so this will give us more books, more materials for our local students who visit the book bus, and then also will help fund the literacy readiness program that in the spring of 2017. It's a great program that Anna and everybody has put together to continue to increase the opportunities for our students to have to obtain and read books. Speaking of dedications, and speaking of new coming in Shadow Creek High School, Monday, October 24th, 5:30 p.m., we will have our dedication ceremony there at Shadow Creek High School. Our focus for this month that we want to talk about is our great partnerships with our communities and schools. You each have a handout at your place there as well. But when you stop and really, I'm not going to read this to you, but the definition of what CIS is there at the top. As I read it, I wondered you could have spent both pages on just the definition of what they are and what they do, the services that they offer to our students that you see there, and I really like that bottom column there of the schools that have communities and schools programs, but then also those that have the after-school programs, a way that our community continues to invest in our students on a day-to-day basis. I think the next page on this is some easy, incredible graphics to see that when you look at 98% promoted to the next grade, 99% stayed in school, 97% improved, but those are, and then that 94% graduated, and improvement in academics. Those are real hard, firm results that are shown through this partnership with communities and schools. And we just cannot we can't say thank you enough for them in the ACE program, for what all they do for our kids on a day-to-day basis, a year-to-year basis, and they're helping us as we help our students learn and grow. So our focus this month is on our CIS partnerships, and we truly do appreciate them. That's all I have.
Thank you. Does anyone have any items for future agendas? No? Okay. Then we will adjourn if I can have a motion from Mr. Humbert. Okay, and a second.
Second.
Okay. We're adjourned.
Awesome. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Dan's gonna hate that he missed this meeting.
We didn't tell them because we didn't want it to. We really just wanted to say thank you.